Yo, what's up? And welcome back to another video. Today, we're not going to be playing VGC, but instead we're going to be talking about the recent announcement of Series 11, because I thought, last video I sort of touched on it a little bit when I was doing my normal battles, but I thought I would go a little bit deeper into, like, my thoughts and stuff, as I didn't really go into much of what I was thinking back then. I'm going to be honest, I actually really hate that we're getting the repeated series 8. Like, obviously it was the elephant in the room, like Dynamax is coming back, and I'm gonna be honest, as much as I do like shit talk Dynamax all the time, I really don't mind it that much. I think the game is vastly better without Dynamax, but I don't mind it. I've had some pretty fun times using Dynamax. Oh man. Series 2 was definitely peak Dynamax, especially when the mons were a little bit worse than they are now. Like, we had Excadrill and Togekiss and Dragapult. Dragapult's still good, but like, you got stuff like Durant, and then you got like Duraludon. Remember Duraludon? Duraludon just straight up is a terrible Pokemon, but it was considered good back then. It had a niche on like hyper offense teams, and it worked pretty well. That said as well, I might be a bit biased. That's Series 2 was when we still were getting live events. I think a lot of people will say that Series 2 is pretty goated. It's probably one of the better formats in general, not just Dynamax formats. That said, for getting Series 11 after Series 10, probably the best format we've had, like, the entirety of Sword and Shield. So it's a bit of a gut punch when we have, like, the best format we've had, like, for the past 2 years. It gets taken away after 3 months, and then we get given an old format, that I think most people think aren't the greatest. The change from a non-Dynamax format to a Dynamax format is actually really jarring. The game, like, completely changes based on Dynamax being so centralized as a mechanic. Like, the entire game is pretty much just decided on how you use your Dynamax, and I personally don't like that. It's all about adapting, but like, I think this change specifically is like really jarring. Like, stuff like Tailwind and Fake Out are just like entirely less frequent. Like, you'll see it from time to time in like a Whimsicott or like a Tornadus, especially on like a rain team. You'll see Fake Out and stuff like Incineroar, you'll see it on Rillaboom, but like, you don't need either of those things to win. It's more frequent that you will see stuff like Regieleki with like Electro Web. You even see like Regieleki's holding stuff like a Hyper Beam, so they can hit things that wouldn't get hit by an electric move like ground types like Orlando, and so they can also set up for the speed control, because the Max Strike lowers the speed stat of the opposing side. Stuff like Lando and Thunderous become a little bit more popular because they're flying types. They get access to max airstream when they Dynamax, so that's going to be like another form of speed control they're actively going to be able to put out. Generally, and because they're Dynamax, and generally you'll see that like Landers is pretty bulky, and you'll see Thunderous running stuff like Assault Vest. Will generally be able to set up the speed control, and then be able to just like roll. I think I've said this before, but Dynamax, one of the other things that Dynamax sucks at is that you're not able to make mistakes without the entire game going down the drain. Obviously there's like ways you can prevent that, but like it's really tough if you make like a small mistake in some instances. But then you also have stuff like weight-based moves, like Venusaur can't run Grass Knot anymore, because if the Kyogre that you're trying to Grass Knot Dynamaxes, it's just not going to do anything. But then you also have like the colossal gimmicks with like weakness policy, and then like stuff like Trick Eject on Grimmsnarl is like an answer to that, but also kind of not. It's also like a strange, like, it's really strange having to play up against a Grimmsnarl. It's like, you gotta guess if it's Trick Eject, you gotta guess if it's, Fake Tears, Hyper Offense, if it's Screens, if it's Fake Out, if it's all the above. It's just, if it's like Thunder Wave or something. Then also there's Zacian, which is gonna get like a huge boost in this format. Zacian in Dynamax format just gets way better, especially with Behemoth Blade, essentially nulling out any Dynamax. So like, if your Behemoth Blade is KOing, outside of Dynamax, it's going to be KOing inside of Dynamax as well, because it just doubles the power of the Behemoth Blade, and it's a tad cringe. I'm not gonna lie. And there's like the other stuff that you got to keep in mind, like Sun is really prevalent. Gmax Venusaur is just like incredibly busted, especially with Vinelash. Vinelash is just really good. And also because Dynamax is so prevalent, stuff like Sleep is a lot better. So you see like Yawn on Torkoal, you'll see Sleep Powder on Venusaur. But yeah, even though I've said a lot of stuff about how Dynamax can be cringe, that's not really the biggest problem. I think the biggest problem is that it is a repeating format. Like, repeating formats suck, dude. Like, Series 9, like, for a little bit was fine, but like, the second half of the Series 9 just like sucked entirely. The good thing about repeating formats is you're able to take an old format and just like try to make it better or like advance it, but we're going to be repeating this format and it's going to be going for like 3 months. We're going to be playing this format for another 3 months, which is so fucking cringe. Like I said, there's upsides to it, evolving the format itself. There's always going to be that. But then on top of that, the format just gets really old and stale. So it's going to be like really tough to keep interest in the format, and therefore it's going to be harder for people to continue trying to evolve the format. Like this happened with Series 9. We saw that a lot of the hyper events like Max Regieleki at the end of, like at the start of Series 9, and pretty much went through the entirety of it. We barely saw any of that in like Series 7. Series 7 ended up being a bit different from Series 9 in terms of its meta. Most of the time in Series 7, you'd see a Regieleki and you'd assume it's going for Light Screen or like Electroweb or Reflect or something. But yeah, no, we saw with Series 9 that happened. And it got to the point where at the end of Series 9, people were doing like grassroots tournaments, taking matters into their own hands and making stuff like, the no Dynamax Series 9, which was like shown in like Necra's Eevee series, or like the collab that Necro and JX9 did with the Battle Frontier. Those guys were doing like grassroots tournaments because everybody was getting sick of Series 9. That was starting up, and then they announced Series 10, and that sort of got swept underneath the rug. I have a feeling that those tournament series and stuff are going to be coming back sooner rather than later. Obviously, there's also the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl games coming out in November as well, and I think it's also likely that people will just go over to that game, making like a competitive like format for that game, despite VGC not actually being on that game. Don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that people will make will come back with like I said earlier, the No Dynamax Series 9, or even like the GS Cup format with double restricted No Dynamax. I know that's already been happening. I think I've seen a bunch of stuff on Twitter about that, because it's like, it shows how much the Pokemon company actually cares about the people who play VGC and VGC itself. Like, Series 10 was highly praised, and then, like, they're just throwing it out. Like, people that, like, quit VGC because of Dynamax, because they didn't like the format, are coming back, and then they're being shown Series 11, and I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to keep those people around. Even Ray Rizzo, like one of the greatest VGC players of all time, came back for Series 10. I'm not sure if he will continue Series 11. I'm sure he will. He's been pretty successful recently. Came out to play VGC, started streaming, started doing YouTube again because of Series 10. And I'm not sure if it's entirely because of Series 10, but I'm sure it played a major part in it. It's so frustrating because Series 11 is just a repeat of Series 8, when they could have done something really cool with it. Like, they could have gone like No Dynamax GS Cup, No Dynamax Series 9, hell, they could have done GS Cup Dynamax, and it probably would have been better than a Series 8 repeat. So many mons become way more viable. Like, Groudon becomes infinitely more viable just by having another restricted. I'm not sure how that would play out, but, like, I'm sure a lot of people would enjoy that. I know people have shown interest in that. But instead, we're just going to be getting a format that we played 6 months ago. And it's just a huge missed opportunity and a waste of time. VGC is dying, and decisions like this is why that's happening. I've spoken about this with Marcos, Moxie Boosted. I've seen people talk about it on YouTube, people on Twitter as well. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. The current precedent doesn't really bode well for it. But with live events returning after Series 11, I think it's spring in the US, they're going to be coming back. We might be getting some of the good stuff at the end of January. We might get, you know, some of the formats we've been wanting, but it seems as though we're just going to be having like a filler series at the moment. But hey, at least while we wait, we're able to, you know, use some sillies on the channel. I'll be able to bring back my old G-Max Pikachu rain team. Be able to use the Lobber again. Everybody remembers the Lobber, the Corfish Colossal team. But yeah, I think there's a lot more to be said about this. Those are just my sort of initial thoughts. I've thought about it for about a day, and that's what I sort of fell upon. That's what I've been thinking about. I can only hope that we get some different stuff. Otherwise, maybe the community is going to have to take VGC into its own hands. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little bit different from what I'm normally used to doing. So if you like this content, like the video and subscribe. I don't do this content very much, but when something like this happens, it generally is a good topic to speak about. It's nice to have a bit of a discussion. Let me know how you feel about Series 11 in comments below. I'd like to see your thoughts on it. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.